In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. This is the day that the Lord has made. And we come to a day that is in the church celebrated for multiple different reasons. The one thing that was not mentioned is today is the forefeast of Itapandi. That's the thing that doesn't quite make it. Four feasts are not in the Paraklesis anywhere. I don't know why that is, but that's just kind of what is missing. We never say, the entrance of the Theotokos or something, whose four feasts we keep today. We never really say that in any kind of Paraklesis or dismissal somewhere. But it is, in fact, the fourth feast of Ipapandi. We will celebrate that on the 2nd. Today is liturgically the 1st. But we celebrate today Saint Tryphon, who was a martyr and contested for the faith, but is listed among the Holy Mercenaries. And it's kind of cool because just today, calendar day, we celebrate two other mercenaries. We don't really get to do that. It's kind of 2 days in a row. We have Peter's and John that are celebrated today, also listed among the mercenaries. And the very next day, we celebrate another Holy Mercenary. We don't really get to do that. We get pairs of them, Cosmas and Damianos, Peter's and John. Like some of these other ones that get celebrated on similar days, but it's very rare that we can finish one on mercenary and then go right into another one. So that's kind of cool. And Saint Tryphon, of course, was a pre-Edict of Milan saint. He was, he contested for the faith and was a Christian when it was still illegal to be a Christian. And it was, a lot of these mercenaries and healers had that same trait, where people were kind of flocking to him and understanding that. And I use that word flocking as a pun because he also took care of geese during his life. So he had that flock of geese within him as far as that is concerned. So he had that gift. But by the grace of the Holy Spirit, he was given the power to heal. And so he was somebody that would cast out demons. He would do much like the other mercenaries would do, not just healing things of the body. In other words, ailments of the body, the way a doctor might heal, but also healing what ails the soul. Demonic possessions and even bodily ailments he was helping to cure during this period of time. And of course, if you start doing this enough and people start flocking to you enough, during a time that's illegal to be a Christian, you're found out. And so he contested for the faith in the famous, at least to the Orthodox, it's not really famous to anyone else besides those that are Orthodox, in the famous city of Nicaea. He contested for the faith in the city of Nicaea and went through unbelievable tortures, and overcame all of them until it was just time that like most of the martyr stories, it was time for him to be beheaded. And as a result of his prayer, he gave up his life before the sword took his head, and so he was able to even withstand the final blow of his of that portion of his torture and the end of his life in that regard. That it ended sort of peacefully, but in the midst of his torment. And we don't hear that often, where a martyr gives up their soul. It happens. I mean, we have Saint Sophia and other individuals that gave up their souls without actually having been executed truthfully. Did they suffer tortures? Certainly Saint Sophia suffered tortures in watching her 3 children die. Saint Tryphon endured bodily tortures before he gave up his soul, but prior to his execution. So, but it's an interesting thing that when you see his icon, he has a sickle. Normally, when you see a martyr, they're carrying a cross, like you see with Saint Sophia and her 3 daughters all carrying crosses. That's one of the traits of a martyr. Whenever you see a martyr, they're carrying a cross because they literally physically picked up their cross and followed Christ. And then when you're seeing other saints like Saint Pandalemo, like Saint Cosmas of Damianos, especially the mercenaries or other saints that have things that are attributed to them, you'll see things that are important to their life. I always joked with people that whenever Saint Porphyrios became a saint, they would put a telephone on his icon because he kept calling people on the phone, and he used that so often, not only to keep in touch with his spiritual children, but also to perform his own prayers and his own miracles in their lives. So, but here's this sickle. We don't know anything about a sickle. If you study his life, we really don't know anything about a sickle because he took care of geese, and then he became an mercenary and a healer. So what is this sickle going on in his icon? What is this? It's because what happened with Saint Tryphon after, posthumously really, is that he began to be invoked for not just the healing of human bodies, but somewhere along the line in the history of his remembrances, people started to pray for him to heal their plants, to heal their gardens, to heal, especially for his prayers were the best insecticide that ever existed before there were insecticides. Before, if there were little gnats or beetles or, whatever that were infiltrating gardens, people would pray to Saint Tryphon and their garden was better. And they were able to, and remember, this is before they could go to the store and buy things. Remember this. People are doing this. If they lose their garden, they lose their food. They lose their ability to eat. So this is a very serious thing that was actually taking place during throughout the life of the Christians as they're invoking. So for him to actually have saved their garden, he saved my garden. Whatever, I go to the store. But when you save a person's garden, they're able to not only provide for themselves, but in some cases, if they have an abundance of gifts among the Christians, they are able to provide for others too, and it was a blessing for them. So Saint Tryphon has this beautiful thing, and he kind of gets forgotten about. Why? Because it's the fourth feast of Epaphras tomorrow. Saint Simeon, the elder, is commemorated on Saturday, and it just kind of keeps going. And it's not very often that you remember the first saint of the month, although in the case of Saint Basil, we always do. But nevertheless, this is a beautiful thing, and I just find it very appropriate that we get to celebrate him on a night that we're doing Paraklesis, because he just has such a beautiful and also very interesting, to me at least, story that is, it has these quirks that are very interesting, like Saint Nectarius with cancer. That didn't happen in his lifetime necessarily with regards to him healing cancer. He healed people, but not necessarily with cancer. He did a lot of that after. And volumes can be written about the people with cancer that Saint Nectarius has healed. So, there's really nothing that I have read, and I may have missed something, where Saint Tryphon was healing a person's garden while he was alive. He was healing people, but this sickle has entered into his icon. And some other icons, you'll see him holding a plant or flowers or things like this for the same reason, because he's remembered for his care of living things that happen to be maybe not exactly livestock, but living things anyway, in the plants and the gardens and things. So let us have his prayers, as we also in our minds still are in the day of Kyrios and John. Let us have these three unmercenaries to heal within what is ailing within us, and may we have their intercessions as we continue to move slowly now. And normally by now we're almost entering the Triodion, but it almost feels like it's very slow, that we're not quite getting into the Triodion just yet. And that's good. That maybe that's a good thing. So for us to, pay more attention to the Gospels and other things that we wouldn't normally hear unless Pascha is as late as it is. So this is a good opportunity for us now. So let us have that as we prepare for these periods of time right now. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.